In this chapter, we are going to learn about attaching and detaching EBS volumes. Guys, in the previous chapter, we learned how we can modify a root EBS volume. By the way, EBS stands for Elastic Block Store, and it is persistent storage that is attached to the EC2 virtual machines. And we can store our data, organizational data, etc. So you can see that I'm already on my EC2 dashboard and I have two virtual machines running. And now you can see I have this EBS test virtual machine that I created in the previous chapter. Make sure that you are following me on my AWS Solutions Architect playlist, because it is a sequenced playlist and every next chapter is actually linked with the previous one. Okay, so make sure that you don't skip any lecture, and we are going to learn everything hands-on in this series. So guys, now you can see that I have this volume virtual machine, EBS test, and in the previous chapter we attached an 8 GB EBS volume, root volume, and then we modified to 30 GB. Okay, and now in this lecture we are going to attach an additional volume, an additional EBS volume, and we are going to mount our new EBS volume with that EC2 virtual machine. So first of all, let's create a new EBS volume here. I will scroll down and you can see that we should have now two EBS volumes that are attached to their respective EC2 instances. Now this one is actually attached with the EC2 test VM. So I'm going to create a new volume, create volume, and one more thing, there is actually one important thing that I have to see, the EC2 VM's availability zone. So I'm going to create the volume in the same zone, US East 1A. So I have to create a new volume in that availability zone so it can be attached with that virtual machine. Make sure that you remember this point, because we cannot attach an EBS volume from a different availability zone to this EC2 virtual machine. So which means that if my VM is running in US East 1A, I have to create a new volume in the same availability zone. So now I'm going to volumes again. I know that my VM is in US East 1A. So I'm going to create a volume, general purpose, and size 100 GB is too much. I'm going to have it for 50 GB only. And the rest of the values are, I will keep them default and as per AWS recommendations. Now here availability zone is US East 1A, which is already my preferred availability zone to create this new volume. Do not create volume from a snapshot. I'm not going to create a volume from a snapshot. By the way, I should have different snapshots, and I can select the snapshot so that I can create a new volume from that snapshot. But still, as I'm going to create a new volume, so I'm not going to use any snapshot. The volume size is 50 GB. The availability zone is US East 1A, and that's it. I'm going to hit the create volume button. So a new volume with 50 GB disk space should be created in few moments, and I'm going to get it down. Now you can see the size is 50 GB. This is actually the new volume that I have created, and you can see the volume state. That is actually the important thing I want to show you. So it means that this volume is available and it can be attached to that EC2 instance or any EC2 virtual machine which is in US East 1A availability zone. So you can see I have one EC2 VM in that US East 1A availability zone, and this is in the available state. So we are now going to attach it with our EC2 VM. So I'm going to select this virtual machine, which is I think it is almost already selected, sorry. And from actions here, this is actually the option in which we can attach the volume with an EC2 instance. So I'm going to hit attach volume, and from there I will be getting EC2 test VM. You can see EBS test, only one instance is showing here, though I have two EC2 instances. But why only one is showing? Because only one instance is running in US East 1A. That is actually important to remember. Now EC2 instance has been selected. I am going to give any device name. You can select any device name. That is up to you. And if we are going to attach multiple volumes with a single EC2 instance, then every time we have to select a different data volume, and it should be different. Like for instance, if I am going to select SDF here and I am going to attach this volume, okay, so the device name is now /dev/SDF. Now the status should be changed from available to in use. You can see, so in use, it means that this volume is now being used by the EC2 instance EBS test. Okay, I'm on EBS test. Now if I refresh, and the storage information should have been updated. I will scroll down. Guys, make sure that you have this habit to navigate on the console on a daily basis. If you want to learn AWS hands-on, if you want to be a good solutions architect or a DevOps engineer, make sure that you log into your AWS console, whether you are a student or an intern or a professional, and just keep checking out things and navigate, because AWS is so important to learn about you for your career. And now here you can see I have two volumes. Before that I had only one, and now I have 30 GB, which is the root volume. Okay, that is actually the difference. This one is root volume, and this one 50 GB is the new additional EBS volume that I have attached with this EBS test EC2 instance. So everything is clear. Now we are going to log in on this EC2 instance, and we have to do some more drill so that this volume becomes a perfect storage point for us. If I copy the IP address and I'm going to open PuTTY. So PuTTY is open, and I'm going to change the IP address. Rest of the things should be same. Window appearance, and now I'm going to save this font for the rest of my videos and session. That's how you can save the configurations in PuTTY. So I'm going to open. So okay, clear, and from here sudo -i df -h. So first of all, we are not going to see this EC2 volume. You can see I am unable to see the 50 GB EC2 volume here. Can you see it? I am only able to see the 30 GB, which is actually the root volume. But if I run fdisk-l, I should be able to see the new 50 GB volume that was just attached with this EC2 instance. So you can see that I have this 50 GB volume, an additional volume that was attached with this VM. But it is of no use because it is not mounted on this virtual machine. Because if I run df-h, which should show all the available space on this virtual machine, I can only see only one volume, which is the root volume, and I am not able to see any 50 GB volume here. Can you see it? No. So that means we have to actually mount this volume so that we can store our data in this newly created volume. So first of all, there are a couple of commands that we should run: file -s or -s, and you can see if it shows the type as data, it means that it is not formatted yet. So we have to format the volume first, and then we are going to create a mount point, and then we will mount this 50 GB volume. So first of all, I'm going to format with the help of mkfs command. Sorry, I was just running format, but we have the actual command as mkfs make file system -t and extended 4, okay, ext4, and the name of the volume. Okay, this is the device name here. So now you can see that this volume has been formatted. The file system of this volume should be now extended 4. So first of all, it was showing as data. Now I'm going to run this command again, and it should show us actual file system. Now you can see it has the extended 4 file system. It means that this process is done and the volume has been mounted. But now we have to create a mount point where we are going to actually mount this volume. So first of all, I am going to create a mount point, mkdir make dir, okay, and like web underscore data in the file system. This is actually the mount point. If I run ls, and if I go to the root file system, and then if I run ls, this is actually the mount point. So it means that my 50 GB volume should be mounted on this mount point. So that is actually the mount point, and now I am going to mount my volume on this mount point. So for that purpose, I am going to run mount, okay, and the device name. I think I forgot the device name here. Yes, this is actually the device name. Make sure that you are not mounting any incorrect device name or other device name. It can cause so many serious issues. So now this is actually the mount point, and I have just mounted my 50 GB volume on this mount point. So now if I run df-h, I should be able to see the new volume, 50 GB volume, and you can see it has been mounted here. Okay, so it means that this 50 GB volume is now successfully mounted, and we can now use it for our logs or for our web data and for our backups. So for instance, cd /web data, and if I create any test file with the help of touch command, test.txt, and sorry, the VM looks a little slower, and ls-l. So it means that I am able to create and modify the files, and you can see this file has been created, and now this is actually the mounted volume, and this is the new 50 GB volume that we created and attached with this EC2 instance. So guys, that's it for today's lecture. I hope that you know the drill, how we can attach a volume or or detach the volume. For instance, if I no longer want this volume to be attached with this EC2 instance, simply I can go here, volumes, and I can select this volume and I can detach. Okay, the detach command will detach, the detach option will detach the volume from the EC2 instance. Okay, now you can see this volume has been detached. So that's it, guys. And it is the same practice for modifying, and it is the same practice for attaching or detaching additional volumes. So that's it for the EBS lecture. You know the drill of how you can create volumes, but we are not done with that. In the snapshots lecture, we are going to have this exercise again, maybe, and you are going to have your concepts more stronger, because we are going to create snapshot from a volume as well. So remember to subscribe my channel, DevOps Molvi. I really appreciate your support. Have a good one, and bye.